All right, let's dive into this one.
Okay.
It's a classic folktale.
Yeah.
You know, the one that explains how the camel got its hump.
Oh, yeah.
We're going way back
Okay.
to the beginning of the world when animals were just starting to work for humans.
Right.
So it's a story that really sparks the imagination,
Yeah.
but it also might have some deeper layers to uncover.
For sure. For sure.
What do you think?
I think one of the things that makes it so interesting is that it tackled this idea of consequences,
Right.
but in a way that's not totally straightforward. It
Yeah.
makes you think about
Okay.
how even punishments can have unexpected benefits.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's set the scene.
Okay.
We're in the howling desert.
All right.
Very descriptive, right?
Yes.
And we've got our camel,
Okay.
but this isn't your typical hardworking desert animal.
Oh,
This camel is all about avoiding work.
got it.
Its
Oh.
diet,
Okay.
trickly things.
Interesting.
It's a favorite word.
Humph. Humph.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds delightful, doesn't it?
Well, you know,
Maybe not.
it's a choice.
Yeah, well, I think this camel's hump
Mm-hmm.
is really key here.
Absolutely.
It's not just a sound,
not just a word.
it's an attitude.
It's an attitude.
You know, it represents
Wait.
resistance to participating, to pulling its weight.
Exactly. And that's where the conflict begins.
Right.
Because, of course, there are other animals around
Of course.
who are working.
Yes, we've got the horse, the dog, and the ox,
The classic.
all diligently working for the man.
Right.
And each day, one of them
Okay.
tries to convince the camel to join in.
I see.
The horse, wants to trot together.
Okay.
The dog suggests fetching.
Makes sense.
The ox invites the camel to help plow.
All right. So they're trying to get him involved.
Yeah, they're really extending the olive branch.
Yeah.
And each time, the camel's response is that same stubborn
Hump.
hump.
Every time.
Can you imagine the frustration?
Oh, yeah. You can almost feel the other animal's frustration building. It's
Yeah.
like that group project where one person just doesn't contribute.
Totally. It's like, come on, camel, we're all in this together.
Exactly.
So they go and they complain to the man.
Right.
But he's surprisingly chill about it.
Oh, really?
He's just like, well, the camel isn't working, so let's just leave it alone.
Interesting approach.
But of course, that just means
More work.
more work for everyone else.
For everyone else.
And that's a familiar feeling, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
When someone else slacks off,
Yeah.
the burden often falls on those who are already doing their part.
Yeah, you're always picking up the slack.
Right, the horse, dog, and ox, they must be thinking seriously.
Right.
We have to pick up the slack for this humph camel.
I could just imagine their eye rolls at
Yeah.
this point.
So,
Darn.
feeling totally unheard,
Mm-hmm.
they decide to go to a higher authority,
All right, who are they going to piss?
the jinn.
The djinn.
Now, you know the jinn?
Uh.
That powerful being
Right.
who's basically in charge of all things desert.
The desert ruler.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So they go to the jinn,
Okay.
and you won't believe what happens next.
What happens?
When the animals complain about the camel,
Yeah.
the jinn already knows
Oh, really?
exactly which camel they're talking about.
Wow.
It's like the camel's reputation for laziness precedes it. It precedes him. Even in the magical realm,
That's funny.
there's a hint of humor there.
Yeah.
Like the jinn is already rolling its eyes thinking,
Yeah.
oh, that camel again.
Here we go again.
It's like the jinn is used to dealing with this camel's antics.
Yeah, this is a repeat offender.
Right.
For sure.
So the jinn, clearly not a fan of slackers,
Yeah. The djinn's got to lay down the law.
right, goes to confront the camel.
Okay.
And where do you think the camel is?
Where would a lazy camel be?
Admiring its own reflection in a pool of water.
Oh, of course. How
Yeah.
fitting.
Right.
So he's just admiring himself instead of working.
That little detail is so telling.
Yeah, what does that say about the camel?
It highlights the sense of vanity
Right.
in the camel,
Mm.
an obsession with its own image.
Interesting.
It almost makes you wonder if the camel's humph
Yeah.
is less about laziness
Okay.
and more about pride.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Right.
Yeah.
So the jinn shows up,
Okay.
all swirling desert magic,
Right.
and scolds the camel
Yeah.
for making the others work harder.
Right. The djinn's not messing around.
And what does the camel say?
Oh, I think I know humph.
Humph.
Right back at him.
Of course, even a powerful jinn can't get through to this camel.
I guess not.
And that's when things take a dramatic turn.
Ooh. What happens?
This is where the story gets truly magical.
All right.
One final defiant humph.
Oh.
The camel's back starts to puff up,
Oh.
growing bigger and bigger.
Oh, no.
And that, my friend,
Okay.
is how the camel got its hump.
So the humph literally became the hump.
It's the physical embodiment
Yeah.
of all those humps
Wow.
A consequence made visible.
Right. But what's fascinating
Right.
is what the djinn says next.
Oh, what's that?
The hump is a punishment, yes, but it's also a solution.
Wait a minute. How does that work?
Well, the djinn explains that the camel can now work for 3 days straight without eating,
Okay.
living off the stored energy in its hump.
So the punishment is also an advantage.
It's kind of like being grounded but getting a whole weekend to binge watch your favorite show.
That's a great analogy.
Right.
So it's this unexpected twist that makes the story so thought-provoking.
It is.
The camels, created a burden,
Right.
but it also created an ability.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder if sometimes our own stubbornness, our own resistance might lead to unexpected outcomes.
Interesting.
Both good and bad.
Okay, so the camel now has a hump
He's got his hump.
and is sent off to join the others.
Okay.
But as you know, there's always a twist in these tales.
Oh, there is?
The camel might be working now,
Okay.
but it still hasn't made up for those 3 days
Oh.
it missed at the beginning of the world.
He's behind.
Even with its hump, it's still behind
When you-
because of those initial humps.
Because of that initial resistance.
I guess even magical solutions
Right.
can't erase the past.
It seems like that.
So what does that mean for the camel?
Ooh, that's a good question.
And what does it mean for us?
What does it mean for all of us?
That's what we'll be discussing in our next
I
part.
can't wait.
So stay tuned.
Stay with us.
We'll be right back after a short break
We'll be diving deeper into this.
to explore those questions and more.
Sounds good. You know what's interesting?
Yeah.
The story really raises questions about whether consequences are ever truly just about punishment.
Right.
You know, the camel's hump, it serves as a constant reminder of its
Mindful.
past humps. But it also gives the camel this unique ability.
So it's both
It's both.
punishment and a gift.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's almost like a physical manifestation of the idea that sometimes our mistakes can become our strength.
It's like turning lemons into lemonade,
Exactly.
but you still have to carry the pitcher
You still got that pitcher.
everywhere you go.
You got to carry it around.
But I'm curious,
Yeah.
does the camel ever actually learn its lesson?
Well, that's where the ending gets really interesting.
Okay.
The story tells us that even with a hump,
Mm-hmm.
the camel never quite learns how to behave,
Really?
even though it's now physically capable of working hard.
Okay.
That humph attitude
Yeah.
might still be lurking beneath the surface.
So even though the camel has this amazing adaptation,
Yeah.
it hasn't really changed internally.
Not really, no.
It's like having all the tools for success,
Right.
but still lacking the motivation
Yeah.
or the right mindset.
The mindset's key.
It makes you think about those times
Yeah.
when we might be holding ourselves back, even when we have everything we need to move forward.
Exactly.
And it makes you wonder
Yeah.
what the true moral of the story is.
What is the moral?
Is it simply a cautionary tale about laziness?
Right.
Or is it something deeper?
Okay.
Something about the lasting impact of our choices
Our choices. Yeah.
and the way we view the world.
It's a big question.
It's almost like the story is saying
Okay.
that even though we can change
Yeah.
our outward circumstances, our inner attitudes
Yeah.
and beliefs can take a lot more work to shift.
The inner work is the hardest part.
It really is.
Yeah.
And this brings us to an interesting question for you, dear listener.
Oh, what's that?
What humps are you carrying
Ooh, that's a good one.
because of past choices?
That's deep.
Think about those times you might have taken the easy way out,
Okay.
or maybe just didn't put in the effort. You could have.
Right. We've all been there.
Do those choices still affect you in some way?
Yeah. How do they linger?
Are there any metaphorical humps
Interesting.
you're carrying around?
I like that.
We all have them, right?
All of
Those
them.
lingering reminders,
Yeah.
decisions we made,
Right.
maybe out of fear or procrastination.
Those are big ones.
It's like the story is asking us
Okay.
to confront those humps
Yeah.
and see them not just as burdens,
Okay.
but as potential sources of strength.
Interesting to reframe it like that.
It's a challenging thought, isn't it?
It is.
To see our past mistakes,
Yeah.
not as failures,
Right.
but as opportunities for growth.
Opportunities, not failures.
I think this story
Yeah.
is a great example of how a simple folk tale
Right.
can actually spark some really deep self-reflection.
That's the power of stories.
It is.
It gives us this framework for understanding ourselves and the world around us.
And in this case, it's a story
Mm-hmm.
about a camel with a hump.
A camel with a hump.
That's both a punishment and a gift.
Punishment and gift.
It's a reminder that sometimes,
Yeah.
even our consequences can have surprising benefits.
They can.
But it also reminds us
It does.
that true change
Right.
goes beyond just outward appearances.
It's deeper than that.
It requires looking inward
Looking inward.
and confronting those hump
moments
that might be holding us back.
that are holding us back. Exactly.
Okay, so we've explored the consequences
Mm-hmm.
and the deeper meaning of the hump.
Yeah.
But what if we could flip the script a little?
Ooh, I like.
What if we had the power
Okay.
to choose our own humps?
Choose our own hump.
What if we could choose the consequences
Interesting.
that would help us grow and achieve our goals?
Ooh.
I like that idea. It's like turning the story on its head
Yeah.
and taking control of our own destiny.
Our own destinies, exactly.
Imagine having a hump.
Okay.
That gave you incredible focus,
Incredible focus.
allowing you to work for hours without distractions.
Ooh, sign me up for that one.
Right. Or a hump that boosted your creativity,
Creativity hump. And
giving you a constant stream of brilliant ideas.
that would be amazing.
Or maybe a hump
Okay.
that helped you manage stress
Ooh, stress management.
and stay calm,
Yeah,
even in the most chaotic situations.
that's a good one.
So, dear listener,
Yes.
we're leaving you with this thought-provoking question.
Right. Hit us with it.
If you could choose your own magical hump
Ooh, magical hump.
to help you with your work,
Yeah.
what would it be?
What would it be?
And more importantly,
Yeah.
how would you use that hump
Mm-hmm.
to overcome your own hump moments
Right.
and achieve your goals?
Achieve those goals. Exactly.
It's a question that encourages us
Yeah.
to think creatively about our own potential
Right.
and to see our challenges
Mm-hmm.
not as obstacles,
Okay.
but as opportunities for transformation.
Opportunities for transformation. I love it.
It's all about perspective, isn't it?
It really is.
It's about choosing to see those humps
Yeah.
as stepping stones rather than roadblocks.
Stepping stones. I like that.
And on that note,
All right.
I think we've reached the end of our deep dive.
The end of our dive.
For today.
For today.
But the conversation doesn't have to end here.
It does.
We encourage you to keep thinking,
Yeah.
keep exploring,
Keep questioning.
and most importantly,
Yeah.
keep embracing those humps.
Embrace those humps.
Because you never know what amazing things they might lead to.
Exactly.
Until next time,
Yes.
keep diving deep.
Keep diving. It's pretty amazing
Yeah.
how this simple story
Mm-hmm.
about a camel
I know, right?
can lead to some pretty deep questions.
It really makes you think about
Yeah.
how we deal with our own hump moments.
Oh.
Those times when we resist, when we kind of dig in our heels
Yeah.
and maybe even end up with a
Right.
metaphorical hump.
A metaphorical hump, exactly.
Go for it.
And it's not just about individual choices, is it?
That's a good point.
The story also touches on
Okay.
societal expectations,
Right.
the pressures we face
Yeah.
to conform.
The camel is expected to work
Yeah.
alongside the other animals
Right?
to fit into a certain role.
Well, exactly, to fit in.
Makes me think about how
Yeah.
sometimes our humps
Mhm.
might be the result
Yeah.
of trying to live up to standards
Yeah.
that don't actually align with who we are.
It's like the camel's hump wasn't just about laziness.
Right.
It was also about
Okay.
rebelling against the idea that
Yeah.
everyone needs to work in the same way.
So it raises questions
What
about,
does work even mean?
right, like what is work?
And how do we define success?
Wow, that's a whole other
Right.
layer to the story
That's multi-layered.
I hadn't considered before.
Yeah, it's got depth.
Maybe the camel was just trying to
Yeah.
forge its own path,
Its own path.
even if it meant facing consequences.
Even if it meant
Well,
standing out.
That's what I love about these deep dives.
Me too.
We start with a familiar story,
Yeah, a simple story.
and suddenly we're exploring
Right. We go deep.
all these complex ideas.
Yeah, about choice, consequence,
Mhm.
societal norms.
It's like peeling back the layers
It is.
of an onion.
Yeah.
But instead of tears,
Exactly.
we get insights.
We get those insights.
So to wrap things up,
Okay.
I think this story reminds us
It does.
that we all have our humps,
Our homes.
both literal
Right.
and metaphorical.
Metaphorical humps.
And those humps can be seen as burdens.
Yeah, we carry them around.
But also
But also.
as potential sources of strength,
Right.
resilience, and even
Yeah.
unique abilities.
Absolutely.
It's about recognizing
Hmm.
The power of our choices.
The power of choice.
And how they shape who we become.
How they shape us.
And remembering that.
Remember that.
Even when we make mistakes, even when we face consequences, there's always the potential.
Always potential.
For growth and transformation.
Growth and transformation. Love it.
So, dear listener.
Yes.
As you go about your day.
Yeah.
We encourage you.
We do.
To embrace your humps.
Embrace them.
Learn from them.
Yeah, learn from them.
And maybe even find a way to turn them into something extraordinary.
Into something extraordinary. Exactly.
Until next time.
Yes.
Keep exploring. Keep questioning.
Keep diving deep.
And keep diving deep.